Immerse yourself in the fascinating tale of Mary of Denmark's engagement, a modern-day love story at the heart of the monarchy, a tale of chance and destiny that shook the kingdom and captivated the world. Discover the behind-the-scenes stories, the emotions, and the never-before-seen moments that marked this historic event. It all began with a single, seemingly unremarkable moment that would change the course of a life and, with it, that of an entire monarchy. Mary Donaldson, a dynamic young Australian woman, passionate about her profession and firmly anchored in an ordinary life, had no idea that her destiny was about to change during a sports evening in Sydney. That day, the whole world was watching the Olympic Games, and among the guests at a trendy bar, a discreet but charismatic man blended into the crowd. Almost no one noticed that it was Frederick, Crown Prince of Denmark. This was no pre-scripted fairy tale, nor a plot contrived by royal communications advisors. It was a genuine exchange, a smile, a few tentative words, a conversation that slowly slipped into a budding complicity. Mary was completely unaware at the time that her interlocutor was a prince, and it was perhaps this detail that gave this meeting a special flavor, far from the protocols and proprieties of a palace. The exchanges continued, first in Sydney, then by telephone and letters, nurturing a discreet but strong bond. Love was woven, fragile and intense, in a balance between two lives separated by thousands of kilometers. Frederick, accustomed to the constraints and heavy expectations of his rank, found in Mary a breath of freedom and simplicity. She, for her part, was gradually discovering the reality of loving a man destined to reign, with all that this implied in terms of sacrifices, renunciations, but also promises of grandeur. Months passed, and rumors began to swirl in social and media circles. Who was this mysterious woman who had won the heart of the future king? Australian journalists were already smelling a romance worthy of the finest magazine pages, while the more cautious Danish press observed with curiosity this foreigner with the luminous smile. Then came the moment when their relationship could no longer remain in the shadows. Frederick invited Mary to join him in Denmark, a decisive step that signaled that this story was no longer a simple romance, but a profound emotional commitment. The trip was an immersion for Mary into a new world, palaces with corridors steeped in history, state dinners, and the scrutiny of courtiers and the media. Far from being intimidated, she displayed a naturalness and charm that quickly won over the royal entourage. Little by little, it became clear that Frederick had found in her much more than a companion, an ally, a future queen capable of standing with grace and poise at the top of a 1,000-year-old institution. The marriage proposal, meticulously prepared by Frederick, took place in private, away from the cameras. A delicately placed case, a jewel-bearing symbolism, and above all, those simple words yet heavy with promise. Mary accepted, with that mixture of emotion and certainty that marks the founding moments of a life. The official announcement of the engagement triggered a veritable wave of emotion in Denmark and beyond. The images of the press conference, where Mary and Frederick stood side by side, radiant and moved, went viral. The knowing glances, the brushing hands, the smiles that betrayed excitement and perhaps a little nervousness, all this contributed to the image of a modern couple, united by love as much as by duty. But behind the beauty of the images lurked a more complex reality. Mary had to prepare to renounce her Australian citizenship, learn Danish, familiarize herself with strict protocol and accept that her private life would now be limited by royal duties. It was an intense period of learning and transformation, but also of deep mutual support between the two fiancés. The Danish people, captivated by this romance with its modern-day fairy tale feel, eagerly awaited the wedding, which promised to be one of the most beautiful royal events of the decade. Preparations were taking shape, with this rare alliance of tradition and modernity, in the very image of the couple they formed. Everyone knew that this union was not only that of two people, but also that of two cultures, two continents, two visions of the world united in a shared promise of the future. And at the heart of this story, a question persisted, fascinating and timeless: how can a simple moment, an unexpected encounter, forever change the destiny of a woman and the future of a kingdom?